basketball.
It's time to strap in and get ready. The Insight NBA team is in the arena, bringing you the ultimate play-by-play on who's hot and who's not to help you win your leagues and dominate your mates. You're now hooping with your hosts, Matty G, Skitty, and Mally for the Insight NBA show.
G'day everyone and welcome to the Insight NBA show. I'm your host, Matty G, taking you through week 11 of Sell High. This is the show where we run through a bunch of guys you can capitalize in your trades. And a bit of a lesson about Sell High tonight, because someone said, Matthew, they call me my first name. It wasn't my mother. How do you determine what Sell High is and when it's sell high and buy a low and all that stuff? And I've got a very, very simple rule that I'm going to just top the pod with today. And the true definition for me of Sell High is this. Not only are you capitalizing on a guy whose performance in recent times has been excellent and can get a big return on, you're also trying to get back if you can. Now, it doesn't always have to be this way. Some trades are win-win, and that's totally fine as well. People don't want to, it's we must win. There's got to be a lose. Sometimes that happens, but if a guy is angling or a girl is angling for a certain build or a certain punt type or to get a certain category, they may overpay. That doesn't make it a bad trade for them necessarily. But what I really think it falls down to is this. At the end of the day, a true definition of sell high is that what they are currently ranked will ultimately be a peak value for that player. And their projection, or how I see them for the rest of the season, is also not that high. So it's not just about being right now or that they can keep this going. And in some cases, guys who are sell high can keep it going to a similar standard, but maybe they're not. Maybe if they could keep it going, we wouldn't even think about selling them high. So we're going to talk through a bunch of guys today whose value to me is really high, could be high for the rest of the season, but also these guys who are peaking right now, and it is a really good time to do this.
Sell, sell, sell. Sell, sell, sell.
Also, talking about selling, if you want to buy right now, jump onto our good sponsors, the Standard Squeeze, for all your travelers, your mugs, your 4-in-1s, your apparel. They've got great tanks that I know Mally loves, sleeves cut off, perfect summer accoutrement, those going camping, because you can buy now. It's buy with promo code IFS15 to make sure you get 15% off all of your purchases. The first guy I want to talk about tonight is this one. His name is Tyrese Maxiell. Tyrese Maxiell has been absolutely flying for the Philadelphia 76ers, and I am going to present to you all of their stats over the past few weeks. And here is Tyrese Maxiell. This guy has been going absolutely bonkers. And you can see here now, these ranks, these are tied to Yahoo's rankings, and they're across points leagues and that. So let's not pay attention to their rankings so much, but let's just look at what he's doing right here. He has been absolutely incredible. His season stats over the last couple of weeks has been flying. He has been 463 from the field, 483, but the points are absolutely in buckets. They are dripping in masses. And if you look at his game logs as well, he's had some absolutely cracking games. 32, 33. The points are sexy. We love that. The volume here, the 500 games and the 480 games in 3 of the last 4 are very good. But this is what also Tyrese Maxiell does. It's that field goal percentage, the low ones, like the 398. When he gets to the line a little bit, for a guy who's got an incredible free throw shot, he has had a bit of a ding in that lately. So maybe some people are a bit buyer beware. Now, his current rank, if you're looking at Yahoo, says 42. He's not really there on the season. And in fact, like we have on our thing, that in the season, he's actually been ranked 15, 9 category leagues. So this is a guy who is doing really well. He's exceeding this ADP. If you're just going off the Yahoo ranking alone, it's not going to be as good as what it would look like. But you can see here the incredible lines that Tyrese Maxiell has been giving up over the last couple of weeks. The last 7 days, they have him at 9. Last 14, they have him at 10. But this is the kind of statistics that he has been putting up. And his league average has been absolutely huge in the last 2 weeks. 28.3 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, 1.8 steals. That's nice. 2 for the last month. It is now time. And I'm actually taking this as well from one of my real life leagues tonight. So this is Big Adams Fuller. He's one of our Insight guys. This is one of our Insight leagues. But this is a guy who we would look to be moving on. Like just for me, like now while he's got it running, now while he's running hot, this is what we want to be seeing out of Tyrese Maxey. And you ask, what do you get back for a Tyrese Maxey? If I can get a first-round player or an early second-round player, this is who I'm looking at. Or if I'm aiming, I'm putting him with another great piece to move up into a top 10 ranked player. Now, I don't think you're going to go out there and get your Shays in the world, but who else can you get in that area? What are you targeting? I think he is an excellent chip, and we don't want to just give him away for peanuts, of course, but this is peak him. And I think him with someone could definitely probably sway someone of a top 5 pick standard. And that's where we can make really big moves in the league and cause some ripples, because it's not fun just not to have some ripples every now and then. This guy, here's a massive ripple this year. He has been 41st on the season, but ranked 11 in 9 category leagues over the past fortnight. It is Trey Murphy the third. I am heavily invested in Trey Murphy in a lot of leagues. And this one that I'm going to share with you now it's actually this one. Oh, that's Darius Garland. We're going to come to him next. Where's Trey? Here he is. This is Trey Murphy. This is a guy who has been absolutely incredibly hot. And Matrix Reloaded. This is Matrix from the Insight Podcast Network. I swear to God that he drafted this guy just to piss me off. And if you look at his history here, he was drafted in the 79 pick, and I thought he was coming back to me in this round. And this is where I was comfortable taking him. I was really happy taking this guy anywhere like from 50, 60, 70, like 55, 65, like later in that zone in drafts. And Matrix just sniped him, the 9th pick, and he was coming back to me. And I just know deep in my bones that he did. I never called him on it, but this is one of my guys who I love. And I know that he got an absolute steal. You keep him in IR to begin the season, and he comes back, and he has been doing this. And in the last 2 weeks, as you can see, he has been absolutely incredible. He has been averaging almost 25 points a game, almost 4 threes, plus 500 from the field, plus 900, plus 400 from 3 as well. 3 assists, 1.2 steals, and 5 blocks. He has been absolutely filling your fantasy cup. Now, this is why we say don't look at these rankings and don't take these as a grain of salt. You can see he's ranked 104th on the season on Yahoo. That's obviously because, well, he didn't start the season. Their rankings for him in the last 14 days is 12. This is probably more in par with where he has been in 9 category leagues. But this is a guy who you could absolutely huge. Now, the reason why, like, Matty, why would we want to trade off a guy like this? Well, we don't necessarily want to trade off of him. We're going to trade him if we can get, again, like the Tyrese Maxey, get an incredibly substantial piece. The big question is not whether or not he's going to be traded. His role, we know, is safe in New Orleans. The organization has pretty much just come out and said, Trey Murphy, one of the guys, is not on the table. Zion, this is the question. It's Zion comes back. Now, I still think Trey Murphy was absolutely incredible besides Zion last year. But I don't think he's going to be this good because his usage has been up. His minutes are up. And I know that, oh, but what about Brandon Ingram? That's usually his. Yeah, it is. So let's say Brandon Ingram goes. What piece comes back in this trade? Does it even impact him 1 minute a game, 2 minutes a game? If it's 3 minutes a game, which I don't think, because again, they're heavily invested, I don't think it's going to nudge his value any way down. But Zion Williamson will take up an absolute truckload of usage. We know that's what Zion does. And I do think that does bring down Trey Murphy's value long term. On the season, as you can see here, with his only 20 games played, he's 40th, but he's been a first-round player in the last 2 weeks. So this is where I think this is absolute peak for him. And if we could get a top 20 player back for Trey Murphy, I'm comfortable with that, as long as it fits my build. I'm talking like Devin Booker types. You could even be making a move. I know in a league there was an Anthony Edwards for Trey Murphy trade, and right now I'm not against it. But Anthony Edwards gets the name, and therefore it's always a lot harder to move these guys. This guy, again, he hasn't had the name that everybody else has, because we all know that the shine in Cleveland is perpetually on Donovan Mitchell, but Darius Garland has been an absolute force of nature for the Cavaliers. He has been the 12th ranked player for the last 2 weeks. He's been a top 30 player on the season, and I just don't know if it's always sustainable. The minutes are up and down and all over the place because the Cavaliers are just smacking people left, right, and center. And you can see right here how incredible he's been over the last 2 weeks. He's averaging 3.3 steals, 3.3 threes, 21.5 points, 3 rebounds. The 7.5 assists are incredible. The 1.8 Steals is exceptional. The big thing here is the 2 turnovers. And this is where his performance last year was really well down. I wonder if I could does it show me that if I go back here, look at this, look at the average of turnovers previously. We're talking back to an almost career low for him on turnovers. This has been an exceptional year for Darius Garland. He's really taken into Kenny Atkinson's system. But the thing which has buoyed him the last 2 weeks, 527 field goal percentage. Incredible. And imagine if he was hitting like plus 800. And you can see historically as well, he has been a plus 800 free throw shooter. Now, he's been plus 800 for the course of the year. The last month, he's been at 850. But he's been 765, which is a bit of a ding on him. Imagine if he was up to 100. He'd be like maybe a top 8 player. The threes are incredible. The points are great. The playmaking is there. The steals are there. The defensive numbers. This is a guy who I think this is absolute peak for, because I think bottom, let's say his floor is like 45, 50 at the very, very worst for this one. That's a guy who, when I'm looking at it, that's exactly what, and this is another guy that Matrix has. And I love this for him. And you can see where he was positioned here. He was the 62nd pick in the 5th round in this league. So he has been getting an absolute incredible return on the season out of Darius Garland the whole entire way. And that's what we want to be sure we're getting as well. We want to make sure that we're getting our return back on those players. And I know that if there's a deal to be made, I know that Matrix will be making it. And I know, in fact, I sent him a trade for him when he was down in value a few weeks back. We didn't get it over the line, but I would just want to try again because of how much that I've loved Darius Garland this season with Cleveland. And he has been absolutely brilliant. So too is Norm Powell over with the Los Angeles Clippers. Just like his jersey, he's been ranked 24 in the past 2 weeks and 32nd on the season. It's just time to sell Norm Powell. You can ride it out. Now, this is the thing. I think Norm Powell will still be good with Kawhi Leonard back. And on Kawhi Leonard's, it's like one of those old cartoons where you just see a hand coming out the bottom and just circling a date on a calendar. At home, 4th of January, Kawhi Leonard, Atlanta Hawks. And that is going to be the test for how good Norm Powell can be for the rest of the season. Now, a 1-game sample size isn't a lot to pin our hopes to. But if it goes downhill, it's going to probably go downhill 2 or 3 or 4 games quickly, which is 1 week of basketball. And this is why we work in this week of week 11, because we don't want to leave it up until week 12 to be like, pull the pin on Norm Powell and get something back. He has been absolutely exceptional this year. I know people in 20-man leagues have got him. I've got him in a 20-man league in one team. I know Mickey Dell. I know he's got him in a 20-man league. And on this volume for this kind of guy, well, you can see his history here. He was drafted as the 132nd pick in this draft. He has been nothing but an exceptional return all season long. You can see that in his last 2 weeks on Yahoo, they're ranking him at 21, which is even higher. It's probably because Dan Titus also loves the bloke and he's a Californian. But you can see 450 on all the volume of threes that he takes is exceptional. Basically a 3-point shooter. To be around 450 and above is what we're really looking for a guy who's almost exclusively an elite sharpshooter. He's almost 900 from the line. 27 points a game. Surely that comes down. Surely that comes down when Kawhi's back. And maybe it's 22 points a game, but it's not 27. And that looks really good. Rebounds, the 4.5. Don't think that stays there. 2.3. The 2 steals. I don't know if that's going to be sustainable. The turnovers, now they probably come down a little bit. He's not going to need to do as much with the ball. And if you look at his game log, apart from when they got absolutely spanked by the San Antonio Spurs, this is why it's sell high. And this is why I wanted to use this as a bit of a litmus test today. When you open it up and players look at the guy that's going to be there and they'll be like, oh, what's he done lately? The first thing they see as you go across is the 500s. And then you start seeing this sexiness. 4 threes, 35, 2, 26, 4, 29, 3, 28. And it just looks absolutely tantalizing. And then you go across and you see it filled up all the time, all the way. The steals, an occasional block, just stripped in for good measure from a norm. You're not going to get those every night, but don't accept it. But this is what people do. This is what we do as managers. The second we're like, oh, Norm Powell, all right, I'll take a look. Because your default answer is usually no. But you start to go through the game log, and I just don't think this is sustainable. We could probably see a happy medium between this area of Norm Powell. I would say the free throw shooting will be a hell of a lot better than 500, where he only took 2 this game. But I don't know if he needs to be aggressive on the line. He should be. He probably won't need to be. Maybe he settles into like 4, free throws a night. Still shooting them at an incredible clip. But maybe we see him around here. 17 to 22, maybe three, maybe one turnover, 2 turnovers still. But what if that's where we settle into with him once Kawhi Leonard returns? And that's the fear. And that's what we want to move away from. We want to move away from our fears. We want to sell Norm Powell high, but I wouldn't be taking anyone than a top 35 player for him. And in some cases, I've seen him traded away for this guy. Mikal Bridges has been the 27th ranked player in the last 2 weeks and 66 on the season. He has been absolutely scorching hot. And in the beginning of the year, it was like, we're not going to get the Brooklyn Nets guy from last year who was atrocious and just was horrible. We're definitely not going to get the Brooklyn Nets newbie when he was traded from the Phoenix Suns and he was a top 25, 30 player over at New York. We weren't going to get that guy. But this is who he's been the last 2 weeks almost. And let's be honest, he has been nothing short of that guy over the last 2 weeks in fantasy basketball. If you look at his game log, and we'll do that in 1 second, so I'll just go straight to his game log. We're going to see Norm Powell's game log, and it's going to be absolutely filled up with goodness. And this is what the man brings to the party. Now, a little bit disappointing, the last one on 13, but look at this, all topped up by that San Antonio 41 points. And it doesn't look as sexy when you take the 41 away, then you see the 17s and you see the 13s. But it's these peripheral stats that we're looking at. The 6 rebounds, the 6 assists, the 2 steals, the 3 steals, the 2 steals, the 2 steals. This is what we come to know and love about it. Phoenix Suns, Mikal Bridges. Isn't it the Phoenix Suns, Mikal Bridges? He has been absolutely brilliant. And as again, if you look at the season, in the last 2 weeks on Yahoo, he has been ranked 9. Like, it's incredible. But truly in 9 category leagues, when you figure this out, he's been a top 20, like a top 30 player, top 20, like around top 25. And if you can sell this package of him, like, nah, man, this is who it is. He's taken over from OG now because he has taken over from OG Anunoby in this role a little bit. They have their games, so they were mixing it up earlier, but he is now into an absolute groove. And this is where it's coming by. The 1-3 last game, not that great, but the threes were there. This is what we love. The corner 3, Mikal Bridges doing it. These little ones that he was dribbling in, you can see, he only gets one occasionally. Sell back, man. Look, man, he's been getting volume for most of them. He's just got one in a couple of games. That's it. Sell that narrative because Mikal Bridges has been exceptional this year, but he has not been as exceptional as he has been in the last 2 weeks. And again, if we see him here, we know that is the peak Mikal Bridges that we can be looking at. So this is why we moved to sell high on a guy who is putting up these kind of numbers right now. And again, the investment in the pick with him as well. I'll go back to where he was in that league for a second. Let's look at where he was drafted. And this was pretty much commonplace. This was like analysts in this league and a bunch of other guys. Oh, yeah, I drafted him here. I drafted him 56, and I thought this was value. I thought this was about where he would finish up at the end of the day. So I own this bloke in this league. I don't know which ones I've got him in and which ones I don't at this point. But I might trade him. And I don't want to because I like what I get from Mikal Bridges, but it has to be a good return because I think the overall game is really good. And I think what we can showcase is, no, this is who he is now, man. He has been excellent. The 41-point game obviously was an outlier. Like, we're not going to see 41-point games from him. We had a 50-plus game from Jalen Brunson the other night as well. So any of the Knicks can pop off on any given night, and they're okay to do that. I think it settles into when we could see him sit around these 17-point games, these 21-point games quite comfortably. And all of this, and you can sell these 29s as the occasional little extra, little peck in there that you get. But look at the supporting stats. The 6 and 6 has been really, really good. And if we look at that over the past fortnight as well down on the season stats, this is what looks really great. We can look down straight away and we can see that he's been 22 points a game, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. This is what we're selling when we're selling Mikal Bridges. Anything less than that is something that we're not going to move on by any way, shape, or form. This next guy, though, this is a bloke that we can absolutely move off quick as spades. Now, DeAndre Hunter has never been a top 100 fantasy player. He's been 63rd this season, and in the last 2 weeks, he has been 28th. And it's buoyed by his incredible three-point shooting. I think it's plus 450, 440 at this point, which is just not who he is. And I just don't know if we can believe it for much longer. But we probably could, but I don't want to. I want to sell the bloke, and I'll take a top 50 player for him in a heartbeat. something that really fits and works my team, or I'd put him with another guy and really try and upgrade my roster spot. But him here, move it over from Mikal Bridges into DeAndre Hunter territory. Let's look at this stuff that he's been putting up. It's ridiculous in the last 2 weeks. 24 points a game, 580 from the field, 900 from the line, almost 3 threes a game, 24 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. This is looking good. And if you look at it over the past week alone, the points still show that they're there. The rebounds are up, the assists are up, the steals are up. So if they're looking, this is where you strike. I know Jay and Silent Matt have him in this league. And if you look at the guy's history where he was drafted as the 181st pick, 13th overall. This is a 14-person league as well. So this is how low the bloke's stock has been. He's been picked up in waiver wires, left, right, and center the course of this year. And in the last 2 weeks, according to Yahoo, he's 24. So when people, especially on Yahoo, being the predominantly used app, they open this up and they start seeing this guy all of a sudden is ranked 109 in the season. Oh, he's gone up. Yeah. Last 7 days, 34. Last 2 weeks, 24. Hashtag basketball and basketball wants to have him at like just inside the top 30. If I can sell him for a top 50 player, I am absolutely doing this because I do not believe these. And when you look at his history, this is probably more what we believe DeAndre Hunter to be as a basketball player. And I don't know if trade rumors and what goes out with Capella and what comes back into this team, I don't know what that is. But I do think it could hurt DeAndre Hunter because they have never leaned on him as much as they have now. And yeah, sure enough, he is delivering. And funnily enough, in fantasy basketball in the past week, and I know Brano is going to absolutely love this one, there is only one team to have inside the top 35 or I think top 40 players, 5 players. Jalen Johnson, Trae Young, Larry Nance Jr. of all people, DeAndre Hunter, and Dyson Daniels is the only team in fantasy basketball are the Atlanta Hawks to have 5 players in the last 2 weeks ranked inside the top 40, all because of this bloke absolutely giving it. And I just don't think, again, that it's sustainable. So it's time to move off. Another DeAndre is DeAndre Ayton. Hello, DeAndres. If you're a fan of your Jalen's, maybe we can start selling some DeAndre Ayton stock around the place. DeAndre Ayton has been absolutely massive. He has had an up and down season, all the injuries, back and forth, but he has come back in the last 2 weeks, and he's doing it also by not putting up massive numbers at times, but really respectable and healthy, really, dare I say, robust numbers for DeAndre Ayton. In the last 2 weeks, he is averaging 600 from the field, 714 from the line. Now, he can be a much better free throw shooter than this. We've seen it over his history that last year was an up year. He did have that 2023 where he was at 820. Last year was 760. Before that, it was 643. I think this year he can be a bit better than that. And I think we do see it push up. Again, 800 in the past week. I think we can probably put around 750 for him from the season. But the 10 rebounds, a walking double-double, 2 assists. But what's been really sexy here is the stocks. And in the last week, he's averaging 2.3 stocks, 1 steal, 2.3 blocks, and almost 3 for the past fortnight at 1 steal and almost 2 blocks a game at 1.8. This is really good numbers for DeAndre Ayton. This is him, and the assists are at 2 a game. They're not bad, but you look at the game log and what he's been putting up as well. And these are the kind of games where he can do it for you. He's dripping in some steals across the way. The free throws, look, again, not getting to the line much at times, which is interesting when you're the big man and you don't see him get to the line. You'd like to say, just be more aggressive, DeAndre. But this guy has been absolutely rolling of late. And I do think that this is the time that we can sell him. Meta World Peace Alex is the owner of him in this league. And I know he was like thinking about selling him low. And you can see here all the games that he was out. And you can see what he did before that. And this is the year of DeAndre Ayton. Promise? Crud nuggets? Absence? Good? Average? Down? Massive 19 pouring out? Average? And then working back up to where he's been. And I just think the yo-yo there for him has been too much over the course of this season. So for me, DeAndre Ayton being at 29 for the past week, for the past 2 weeks, is the peak that we can get him at. So we're looking to sell him off. Again, a great package. And people say, what do you want to trade them for? I don't know. I don't know your league. I don't know your build. But I do know if I'm an owner of him, Yeah, I'm definitely thinking about shopping the big fella from Portland right now. Why? There's also the other reasons around it. Donovan Clingan. Robert Williams hasn't been getting the minutes. He's been out of the lineup a little bit. All these things just meet for me a maelstrom of the Trailblazers initially wanting to blow it up or make trades or really increase their draft pick odds. Something just doesn't sit right. This is a good time, if any, to move on Ayton. Again, 65th with all the absences on the year, 29th for the last 2 weeks. This is kind of the peak that we'd have him at for a guy that we would probably see maybe finish around the 60s. So if I can get back a top 4, anywhere from like a 40, anywhere from 35 to a 50 player that fits my build, and I can get, if I'm really especially overjuiced on rebounds, which he's been doing really well lately with that double-double, and I can get some more points and peripheral steals, maybe that cheeky block kind of guy, yeah, I'm definitely shopping him. And I'm definitely looking to move DeAndre Ayton off my roster if I can. And I'm also looking to move Colin Sexton. Now, he has been the 61st ranked player in fantasy on the year. Now, that seems a little odd when you say it like that, but he's actually been bloody good. And this is what he does. Now, he's never had a season where he's just been this, he's had moments last year. I'll never say he's never had a season. But we do know there has been times where he's provided return for his owners. This is, again, peak. And now, and when I say peak Colin Sexton, 61's pretty really, it's really good. Let's say that. And I own him in this league as well. So I know that when I was drafting Colin Sexton, I knew what I wanted out of Colin Sexton. I was looking at someone, again, here's the history. I was looking for someone when all the points were going off the board, and I probably went early on him, but points were going, and I drafted him at 84th because for me, I really needed a point guard quickly at this point, and I needed someone I could get points from. And I just trusted it to be Colin Sexton because all the point guard well in this league, in our draft being a 14-person league, was drying up quick. They were flying off the board in this round from memory. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to get Sexton now because in this 14-teamer, I was right up there with I had the first pick in this draft. I could get him or I could leave him go, and I wasn't going to get him, I don't think, coming back. Because I know a couple of people in the league, there was no way that he was going to exist around probably pick 100 to 15. I know I wasn't going to get him. I know he was going to be off the board by the end of the next one or mid the next, and I didn't want to run the gamble. I probably invested in him a bit too much here. But if I could get back the 84th pick, like about the 85th ranked guy, a 70 to 85th ranked guy right now, I'd be laughing. I'd be really happy with that because if you look at his game log, the guy has been absolutely insane lately. Now, not a whole lot of threes going on since that big outburst the other day, 2 or 3 per game, but the field goal percentage, it's been wavering. But look at the assist numbers, the 4, the 8, the 11. This is what looks good, the 5, the 7. And on the season stats, he has been 51st according to Yahoo. But this is what we love to see. 22 points a game, 3 rebounds, 6.7 assists, 1.5 steals. The clunky 3.7 turnovers for the 2 weeks, that's not good. And I'm not for that by any way, shape, or form. But it all spells to me why I should be moving on Colin Sexton. And again, do you need to? Well, yeah, I think you do. I think you need to move on Colin Sexton at a point. And again, what do you get in return? You look at the 70th ranked player, you look at the 85th ranked player, you see what you need for your build and sell. And again, when it's not a name, it could be hard to move these guys. But statistics don't lie. And again, Isaiah Collier getting run down the stretch, the outset of Keontae George being out of the lineup and him having to do more. It's just the trade rumors with Colin Sexton. Like everyone's attached to the Los Angeles Lakers at some point. Don't get me wrong. I know it happens, but he has been linked there for a long time. But this game log is attractive. And that sells itself to a lot of guys out there. Who is chasing points in your league? Who is chasing points and assists? Do you have them? If you have them already, you don't need Colin Sexton in your lineup, possibly, if you need to get some other stats that you need. Maybe you're chasing rebounds there. Maybe you're chasing some field goal percentage, and that's what you really need to focus on to win your league. Well, sell Colin Sexton. Go chasing and get your return for him because this is an absolute sell high time for him. And to wrap the show, I've got some honorable mentions. I've got a couple of blokes out of Washington really, really quick. Jordan Poole in the last 2 has been 30th. He is 57th on the season. Jonas Valanciunas, 66. Now, they're shopping him for a trade. We've heard about that, and I don't know if he gets the same return back. I know he was supposed to be a Laker a couple of weeks ago. We know that got pulled. We're here. They're shopping him in Washington for some second rounders. He's been 105th on the season. But with yes, it's real that they showcase people for trade. He has been the 66th ranked player in the last fortnight, which tells me that it is time to sell if you have him in your lineups before he hits the waiver wires. Austin Reeves, I think this is his absolute peak, but because he has a name and he's like, oh, he's D'Angelo Russell's traded. And I know people were making moves to try and get Reeves in their team straight away because D'Angelo Russell was traded. Oh, he's going to be really buoyed. If you can sell that narrative in your league, you can absolutely move on Austin Reeves, who's been the 42nd player with some outages from LeBron James and Anthony Davis, respectively, recently, who's been the 89th player on the season. Dante DiVincenzo has roared up the rankings to 71 in the last 2 weeks, 168 on the year. I really liked the Red Machine just outside the top 100 as a pick. He was disappointing to start his new tenure in Minnesota, even though he showed some gusto and some spark against the Knicks in the preseason, and we all love that kind of big spectacle early on in the year. Like we love the whole narrative with him being angry, and it just hasn't sold itself in fantasy basketball. So I'm very, very happy to pick him up off the waiver wire. I know he's there in 10-man leagues. I'm even thinking about flirting with him. Definitely should be off your waivers if he was ever near in a 12-man league. And the last one, in the last 2 weeks, he's actually been the 68th ranked player, is Drew Holiday. He has been the 107th ranked on the season. And with the absences of KP and Horford in and out of games, he's had to step up and do a little bit more. We know the Celtics are absolutely rolling opponents, but he has been playing incredible well. And you can always sell a guy like Drew Holiday. There's, oh man, look, he doesn't hurt you anywhere, guys. This is a guy who's, I don't think, going to return that value at the end of the day. So this is peak Drew. And so again, what we do when they're peak, we sell them, especially if we can sell them at a place that we don't see them at for the rest of the season as well. That pretty much wraps us up for the sell. I just like it. If you've got these guys, do this.
Sell.
And make sure you like and subscribe to all things Inside Fantasy Sports, Inside NBA. I am at NBA G Wiz. Take care, everyone. Happy New Year. We'll see you soon.